I did a video on this about 4 years ago, but I've changed a lot of things since then. And so I thought I would update it. And here is my script that I use to control media on my desktop. I have some headphones that are RF headphones, and I'll put those on. They're connected to the desktop on my computer, and I'll play YouTube or play something on the desktop. And they have a long range, so I can walk all around the house and wash dishes or get stuff done while I listen to it. But the issue is I don't want to go all the way back downstairs to the desktop to pause the audio. If I need to talk to my wife, for example, I'd rather grab my phone. I SSH from my phone into my desktop, and then I control the media this way via this script. So starting out here, I have an infinite while loop. So this is the same as saying, the colon is the same as saying while true, do. And so it goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. So I'm going to go ahead and start the script up here. Let's pretend this little box at the top middle is my phone. So the script is called RC, and that stands for remote control. So note here, I just have a colon there for the prompt. So here's the prompt. And whatever I put in goes into the variable input. And so then what we have is a for loop. And the for loop uses the input that I put in. And so you could use sed if you wanted to, or you could use the bash built-in. And so let's look at this. I've got a YouTube video up here, and let's say I'm listening to a podcast, and I want to go back, or I want to go forward, I want to pause it, etc. So I can control it that way. Let's go ahead and we can play it. So let's say I missed the last little bit of whatever the podcast was saying, so I want to go back, but I want to go back quite a bit. So I can hit B, for example, multiple times. B once, we'll go back 10 seconds, but let's go back B and hit it 5 times. So then that goes back even further. So how is it that that's working? So we play it again. All right, so let's look at this. Here I'm on the shell, and so I set the variable input, and I've got a whole bunch of B's going back on the video. And so I've done echo input sed, and I replace every single character and put a space before it, and then I include that character. That's what this ampersand is. And here I did a semicolon. I just trimmed out the first character that would have gone otherwise before the B. So here it is without the extra replacement. And you can see there's a space before it. It actually does not matter in the for loop where I loop through it. Here it's the commented out one. It doesn't matter if there's an extra space in there. It's just going to use that as a delimiter regardless and feed it multiple B's that go back. And so here is an option with the space following. So note here there's an extra space at the end, but it doesn't matter regardless. And so what I decided to do is just do the bash built-in replacement. With sed, a single dot, a single period stands for a single character. With bash, you take the input, you use the curly braces, and a single character is represented by a question mark, and you use the same regex as sed with the ampersand. So here I did the space following, but it's interesting, it trims the last space, which is nice. So here, where it's not trimmed, you see my cursor's going an extra space. And here it's not going an extra space. And so that's what I've opted for here. And this part's important because without 2 slashes, it won't be global. It won't, I believe global is the right term. It won't make a replacement every time. It'll just do the first replacement. So if we take out the 2 slashes, it's just going to do the first one. So the 2 slashes are important. That's not a mistake or anything like that. So I think I'll keep that terminal open just in case I need it. And so I'm going to take out the sed part because it's an extra thing. And so what I do is I take the input. I may type multiple B's to go back multiple places, and then I loop through that. So let's go. And so that I do a for loop and then a case statement within that for loop. And so here's the B if I want to go back multiple places. So if I do 4 B's, it's going to run this code 4 times. So if on my desktop I'm running MPV, I check to see if I use pgrep, and if pgrep MPV is of non-zero value, then I run xdotool. So xdotool is a great tool. You need X11 to be able to use it. And it sends keystrokes and mouse movements, that sort of thing, to your desktop. Really cool. But I'm SSH'd in, remember, from my phone. So it needs to know what display it is. You have to specify that. You have to set the global display variable. And I log in a lot of times on TTY1. My wife might be logged in on TTY2. So I have this in my Zenit RC. I need to zoom in a little bit here, where I can record the display when I log in, because otherwise it could send the keystrokes somewhere else. So let's see. And so you have to set the display variable under SSH. And so, see, for YouTube, I'm doing xdotool search name YouTube. I use Firefox, and YouTube is going to be in the video title. If we just mouse over that, you can see YouTube there. And then it'll send that keystroke to the window. Now, I'm not quite sure why, but the search, specifically the search next xdotool, isn't working perfectly consistently. Maybe it has to do when I have multiple Firefox windows open. I'm not sure. But you may need to just do xdotool key J and make sure that YouTube or whatever you're playing is in the foreground. So the search allows something else to be running, and then it searches it and it sends that keystroke to that window, even if it's not in the foreground. So what do I have here in my remote control, my media remote control? B. And so I can hit, as you saw, I can hit B multiple times to go back multiple places. P, that's play pause. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do 1 P every time. I'm not going to play pause multiple times. F, if I want to go forward for a certain section. Let's say there's a section of a podcast I'm not interested in, then I can just hit F, then it'll forward multiple places, as many places as I want to. N goes to the next video, perhaps in my watch later. And this is something for me because I use Vimium-C, and so that's what this I is for. It puts the window in insert mode, so I can send keystrokes to it like normal. All right, so let's play the video for a sec. Pause the video. I ran into issues again with the search name, and I think I haven't been having issues because I usually just have one window open. And so you can use xdotool key and then just send the keystroke to it. But I did this instead, Navigator. So Navigator is the class name, and you can get the class name by running that right there, xprop. I never zoom in on my drop-down terminal, xprop, and then grep class, and then you can just click on the window, and it'll say Navigator. All right, so this might be the root of my issue here. You can do xdotool. Let's search that. And for whatever reason, I'm getting 2 results there, so that's probably the root of the issue. Anyways, moving along, I have got volume, so I can turn the volume down. I can turn the volume up. So let's play the video again. I'm going to turn the volume down. I don't want to turn it down quite a bit. It's kind of loud. Turning it down. Turn it up a couple times. You get the idea. Pause it. So while it's on topic, I might as well talk about my volumen script, my volume changing script. But real quick, I wanted to mention that you may have been noticing when I was running this that it was outputting a number and then the percentage. And so that was the output of pgrep awesome window manager. So I always check for that first and kill any, and if it's running, it'll kill any notifications because I use the script both on the desktop and via SSH. So I redirected standard out to dev null. So now if I turn my volume down, it just gives the percent. So it doesn't have that PID that you were seeing earlier. And another thing I noticed on my video, while I was turning the volume down on my system, it kept it the same on the video. So that's why the volume wasn't getting lower just now. All right, so just a couple of details about this. I run a mixer. Now this will show the output of this, of what it is by itself. And so you get this data here. And my goal is just to grab the percentage. That's all I care about seeing in the output. So that's why I do all of this. I get, this actually does run the command, but I grab the information there to be able to use it later. And so I grab I get the last line, run it again. I get the last line, and then I need to zoom out a little bit. And then if these square brackets are repeated, awk reads it as a literal. And then I print the second element there based on those delimiters, and I take out any new lines. And so, yeah, in my remote control script, I just use the U and the D flags and not the last 2 flags. All right. Hope you enjoyed this.